Now, to go through all those figures, I'm joined by housing expert Henry Pryor. Henry, good to talk to you. First of all, let's talk about the housing market as a whole. When is it going to pick up again, do you think?
Well, there are many people who are going to think you're going to need a banker's bonus to be able to buy a house in 2012, but I think that's probably a little overstating this situation. We've had the Land Registry report that you've mentioned, which shows that actually the market is, of course, extremely variable across the country. Land Registry reports on only England and Wales, rather than Scotland and Northern Ireland, who have their own indexes, but it shows that the variation is huge. In Chelsea, in London, Kensington and Chelsea, prices were up 7.4% over 2011, yet in the North East they were down by 7.1%.
And a 6% fall in completions. I mean, what does that tell us about where the housing market was at the end of last year?
Well, it tells us that the big problem for so many people is this question of turnover. The number of houses at a record low, really, now in numbers actually selling. It's causing big problems, not just for estate agents and mortgage providers, but also all those allied sectors like removals and the like, who depend on the number of transactions actually going up.
What are the best tips right now for finding a good mortgage out there? Because it's so hard, isn't it? Especially for first-time buyers.
The key is to try and get yourself organised before you start to look for a house, and if you can get your mortgage and mortgage finance in place, it makes you a much better bet when you do go out there and when you do identify the house that you want to buy. When it comes to selling, remember the 3 Ps, price and also presentation, and making sure you get out there and get the house presented properly.
So what about a first-time buyer out there who's struggling with the deposit? Are there ways around a big deposit now?
Well, there's the Bank of Mum and Dad, the famous Bank of Mum and Dad, which so many people have to rely on these days. But we have seen as a result of this RBS survey that actually things are still very difficult for first-time buyers. What we're trying to do is to find a way of freeing up the economy so that we can get more people into the housing market, and as a result start to see gently rising prices at a time when actually prices still, for many people, are still sadly coming down.
So a quick bit of advice, Henry, if you had a home and you were thinking of selling, would you sell now or not?
If you're going to trade in the same market, it's essential that you remember that if you're taking what you perceive to be a hit in the house you're selling, you're almost certainly going to find that what you buy is correspondingly cheaper. The only people who are really suffering are those trying to get onto the housing ladder at the bottom, and those indeed who are coming out. We've seen that the end of stamp duty, land tax assistance that the government provides, which ends at the end of March, is probably going to be addressed by the Chancellor in his budget. He's also going to take the opportunity, I think, probably to try and slam the door on stamp duty avoidance that's been happening allegedly at the top end too.
OK, Henry Pryor, good to talk to you. Thank you very much.